Semantics is all about the systematic study of meaning that we communicate through language. It's a fundamental part of modern linguistics, sitting right alongside phonology, which deals with sounds, and syntax, which focuses on sentence structure. The main goal of a semanticist is to understand and describe how speakers internally grasp the meaning of words and sentences. This internal knowledge helps us do some pretty interesting things, like recognizing when two sentences are talking about the same situation, spotting when they contradict each other, or noticing when a sentence can be interpreted in more than one way, which we call ambiguity. Understanding semantics is essential because it connects deeply with how we interpret and make sense of language in everyday communication. Let's delve into the idea of semantics and how we study signs. So when we talk about linguistic meaning, it's actually just a part of our broader ability to use various sign systems, which is the core focus of semiotics. Semiotics is the field that explores how signs work and how we interpret them. Now, within semiotics, experts, called semioticians, make important distinctions between different kinds of signs. For example, icons are signs that resemble what they represent, like a picture of a tree. Indexes are signs connected by association or causality, like smoke indicating fire. And symbols are signs that have meaning through social convention, like words or flags. Speaking of words, they're considered verbal symbols because the connection between the word and what it stands for isn't based on resemblance or direct association, but rather on social agreement. This is a key point because it shows how much of our communication relies on shared understanding. And finally, language itself is viewed as the most advanced sign system humans have developed. It's incredibly sophisticated, allowing us to convey complex ideas, emotions, and concepts, which ties back to our overall theme of understanding meaning and communication. Let's take a closer look at the definition's theory of meaning. This approach is quite straightforward and, I think, intuitively appealing. It suggests that to understand what a word means, we can look at its definition. Essentially, the meaning of a linguistic expression is found by establishing clear definitions of the words involved. Think of it as having an internal dictionary, a mental lexicon, where all the meanings of words are stored. When we hear or see a word, our brain retrieves its definition from this mental dictionary. This aligns well with the common sense idea that knowing a word's meaning is just like knowing its dictionary definition. So, in the context of our overall discussion on how language works, the definition's theory emphasizes that meaning is closely tied to these explicit, definitional relationships. It's a simple yet powerful way to understand how we grasp the meanings of words in everyday communication. Let's take a closer look at the compositional assumption. A fundamental part of the definition's theory is what we call the principle of compositionality. This principle suggests that the meanings of words are combined according to grammatical rules to create the meanings of phrases and sentences. In other words, the way we put words together determines the overall meaning. This is really important because it explains linguistic productivity. That is, our incredible human ability to understand and generate an infinite number of new sentences we've never heard before. Since there are potentially limitless sentence meanings, we can't just list them all in a lexicon. Instead, we build these meanings from smaller parts or constituents. So, this assumption helps us understand how language is so flexible and generative, fitting perfectly into the broader theme of how meaning is constructed in human language. Let's talk about the first challenge, the problem of circularity. This is a fundamental issue in understanding language and definitions. When we try to define a word, we often end up using other words that need defining themselves, creating this endless loop. It's like a never-ending chain. Each link depends on the next. To truly understand a definition, we need to understand the words within it. But those words, in turn, require their own definitions. This raises an important question. Can we ever really step outside of language itself to describe it objectively? Without some kind of non-linguistic anchor, something beyond words, definitions are stuck inside the very system they're trying to explain. They become trapped within the web of language, making it challenging to reach a clear, fundamental understanding. So this challenge highlights the limits of language and points to the need for alternative ways to grasp meaning beyond just words. It's a core issue that underpins much of our exploration into how we communicate and understand each other. So, one of the key challenges we face is distinguishing between linguistic knowledge, which is about word meanings, and encyclopedic knowledge, which involves general facts about the world. For example, understanding what a whale is. Does that mean you just need to know the word's meaning, or do you also need to know that whales are mammals? It's not always clear-cut. Meaning is a type of knowledge stored in our minds, but defining its exact boundaries can be tricky. It's not just a simple label, it can include a lot of interconnected information. And this creates a question for linguists. Whose knowledge counts when we talk about meaning? Different speakers might have different levels of expertise or background information. So, deciding what counts as the standard meaning isn't straightforward. All of these points highlight how complex the relationship is between language and what we know about the world. It's a crucial part of understanding how meaning works in real communication. Let's talk about Challenge 3, the contribution of context. As you can see, meaning is highly sensitive to the physical and social context of an utterance. For example, a simple sentence like, "It's getting late," can actually mean very different things depending on the situation and what the speaker intends. This highlights a key point. Because there are so many possible situations, virtually infinite, the idea of capturing all relevant context in a fixed definition isn't realistic. In other words, you can't just rely on a one-size-fits-all explanation of meaning, because context plays such a crucial role in how we interpret language in real interaction. This suggests that simple definitions of meaning are simply not enough to truly capture how understanding actually works when people communicate. So, the takeaway here is that context isn't just a minor detail. It's central to how meaning is constructed and understood in everyday conversation. Let's talk about Strategy 1, which is designing a semantic metalanguage. To address the problem of circularity in language analysis, semanticists create a special kind of language called a metalanguage. This metalanguage is essentially a tool we use to describe and analyze the object language we're studying. It's like having a language about language. An ideal metalanguage needs to be neutral, meaning it shouldn't favor any particular interpretation, and it should be clear so everyone can understand it easily. It also has to meet scientific criteria for economy and consistency, so it's concise and reliable across different contexts. Some theorists believe that words, no matter how precise, should ultimately be connected to something outside of language itself, like physical objects or mental thoughts. This grounding in non-linguistic reality helps ensure that our descriptions are anchored in something tangible, which is crucial for making meaningful and stable analyses. Connecting all these ideas, the goal is to develop a metalanguage that helps us analyze language systematically, without getting caught in circular reasoning, and with a solid connection to reality when needed. Now let's look at Strategy 2, which involves factoring out context into pragmatics. What this means is that linguists try to handle the problem of context by separating the literal meaning of what is said from the effects that context can have on that meaning. Semantics, as a field, often focuses on the part of meaning that's independent of context, what we call the context-free, conventional meaning of words and sentences. But of course, how we actually understand language in real life depends a lot on background knowledge, inference, and the situation, which is where pragmatics comes in. Pragmatics studies how listeners use their background knowledge and make inferences to understand speakers beyond just the literal words used. This distinction, between sentence meaning and speaker meaning, helps us organize our analysis more clearly. Instead of trying to explain all language understanding as one big thing, we can see semantics handle the core, context-independent meanings, while pragmatics takes care of how context influences interpretation. This division of labor allows us to better understand how meaning works in real communication, aligning with the overall theme that language is both structured and flexible, shaped by both rules and context. Now let's look at some key assumptions in semantic models. Modern semantics fundamentally relies on the idea that language connects to the world through reference. That is, how words relate to real-world objects, and sense, which deals with the internal links within language itself. Linguists also make a crucial distinction between utterances, which are concrete instances of spoken or written language in specific situations. Sentences, which are more abstract units that can be analyzed independently of context. And propositions, which are essentially descriptions of states of affairs, the core ideas or facts that sentences convey. These different layers of abstraction help semanticists focus on what really matters, meaning, by filtering out irrelevant details like pitch, intonation, or emphasis. This way, they can zero in on the core meaning without getting distracted by extraneous features of speech. Ultimately, semantics serves as the bridge between the formal linguistic system, its rules and structures, and our human conceptual system, which is how we interpret and understand meaning in everyday life. It's this interface that allows us to connect the formal aspects of language with the rich, nuanced ways we think and communicate about the world.